Hi friends, this is Unit 1 Day 6, Solving Equations in Quadratic Form. Example 7 is a little bit dicey. We've got this now we have x plus 1 in parentheses, and now we're raising it to the 2/3 power, to the 1/3 power. Again, notice, this is looking very close to quadratic form because we have something raised to some second degree and some first degree. The issue is that it's second thirds, 1/3. So when we think about how we're going to use a substitution for this one, let's just take a moment and think about, okay, if I do u equals x plus 1 to the 1/3 power, if I raise this to the second power, then it becomes u squared will become what this is. So this will actually work for a substitution. So going back in, if I have, let's see, this would be u squared minus, and then this would be u, and then minus 2 equals 0. Now I can solve I can factor this and then solve to find out what my zeros are. So let's see, it looks like I'm going to have u plus 1 and u minus 2, and set each of those equal to 0, then solve. So I have u plus 1 equals 0, u minus 2 equals 0, subtract 1 on both sides, so I get u equals -1, and then add 2 on both sides, I get u equals 2. Okay, again we need to then, set u here, so we're going to have -1 equaling this, to then solve. So -1 equaling x plus 1 to the 1/3 power. And then I'm also going to set up the other one over here as well. 2 equals x plus 1 to the 1/3 power. Okay, so to get rid of the 1/3 power, we need to raise both sides to the 3rd power. So by doing that, I will eliminate that 1/3 power. So raise both sides to the 3rd power. Let me go ahead and do it on this other one as well. Alright, so as I go through, so -1 to the 3rd power is -1. I have x plus 1 here as well. And then 2 to the 3rd power is 8, equaling x plus 1 as well. Minus 1 here on both sides, so I'm going to get x equals -2. And then minus 1 here, and I get x equals 7. Looking in for my valid solutions, my domain, this is in, so I'm good. And there we go. Alright. I'm going to jump to number 8. 8's not lengthy in terms of compared to some of the other problems. It does look like a u substitution. A lot of students just want to jump into factoring and work it through factoring. That's perfectly fine. One of the things I want to note is that it's to the 4th power. So because it's to the 4th power, we need to remember that we have we're going to have 4 possible solutions as we go through and solve. So this is a difference of squares. So I have x squared minus 4 and x squared plus 4. And then this is also a difference of squares, x squared minus 4. So I have x plus 2, x minus 2. This x squared plus 4 is not a difference of squares. So I'm just going to have to set that equal to 0 and then solve. So if I set each of these equal to 0 and then solve, I have x plus 2 equal to 0, x minus 2 equal to 0, and x squared plus 4 equaling to 0. So minus 2 on both sides, I get x equals -2. Add 2 on both sides, I get x equals +2. Here I'm going to subtract 4 on both sides, and I get x squared equals -4. I need to get the x by itself, so I'm going to square root both sides. Square root, plus minus. So this gives me x equals plus or minus. That is going to be 2i. So all of my solutions, again, I'm going to have x equals -2, +2, plus or minus 2i. So -2, 2, and then plus or minus 2i. If I'm asking you to list all these out, I may ask you to list them all out separately without the plus or minus, still list them all out. Know that you can also combine these as you're writing them, so like you could do plus or minus 2, and then plus or minus 2i. All of these forms are acceptable. Just be careful if you're working on your homework, what the form your instructor is asking you to do. Number 9. So number 9, this one is closely written in quadratic form. First, let's get everything to one side. It's starting to look a little bit dicey here with this cube. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to subtract 3x squared on both sides. So I have x cubed minus 3x squared minus 7x plus 21 equals 0. So just looking at this, I see that this looks really, it's kind of reminiscent of maybe like a factor by grouping, because I see that I have very similar things here, very similar things here. If I factor out an x squared here, I'm left with x minus 3. If I factor out a negative 7 here, I'm left with an x minus 3. Now, when you factor by grouping, these middle terms have to, the terms we have in parentheses, they have to be exactly the same. They can't be close, they have to be exactly the same. And because they're both x minus 3s, what you're doing is you're actually factoring out that x minus 3 to come out with an x squared minus 7. Now I can set these equal to 0 and then solve. So x minus 3 equals 0, and x squared minus 7 equals 0. Add 3 on both sides. You get x equals 3. Add 7 on both sides. X squared equals 7. Take the square root, plus minus. So you get x equals plus or minus square root of 7 and 3. Again, I want to make a note. You had cubic third power as your degree to start out with, and you had 3 solutions. Join me in the next video as we solve the application problem. Have a great day.